KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for Black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the Black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@KBLA1580.com. That's advertising@KBLA1580.com. KBLA 1580. We've got you Black.
Hey Zo, I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
Sexual tastes vary from person to person, but with the current pornography epidemic, as some call it, one has to wonder how exactly this may affect our desires and perception of sexuality. Moreover, how does it affect our sex lives? Pornography constitutes about 25% of all search engine requests and is the fourth most common reason people give for going on the internet. And while it may seem to simply facilitate an instinctual sexual response linked to millions of years of evolution, the truth is, pornography has dynamically changed over time, ultimately molding our tastes and desires. The not-so-shocking truth is that pornography has profound consequences for the brain and acts in many ways like a drug. With prolonged exposure, your tolerance is increased, and many often find themselves addicted. Though it's not a physical substance, it leads to the same general loss of control, the compulsiveness to seek out the activity despite negative consequences, and withdrawal when it goes away, much like that of gambling or running, for example. The issue is that continued exposure can cause long-term or even lifelong neuroplastic change in the brain. Dopamine is released as a reward whenever we accomplish something, whether it be eating to sustain life or sexual activity to produce future life. And this dopamine consolidates neural connections in order to drive us to perform the same activity in the future. In other words, it alters and forms the brain cells to motivate certain actions. It rewires your brain. The National Institutes of Health measure drug addictiveness by testing rats. The rat is trained to press a button in order to get a drug, and the harder it works indicates how addictive the substance is. It turns out that the more addictive a drug is, the more dopamine we see released. And while there is, unfortunately, no rat porn that we can give to them, we do know that dopamine is also released during sexual excitement, which pornography plays right into. The more time you spend doing it, the more dopamine gets released, which reinforces the behavior and makes you not only desire it in the future, but require it. And as you begin to imagine these images away from the computer or while having sex, they become reinforced. Furthermore, each orgasm releases even more dopamine, which consolidates the connections made during the session. It's a feedback loop that becomes harder to escape. And just like a drug, your tolerance for visual stimulation has now compounded, making it more difficult to be turned on by reality. Pornography addiction can often lead to finding your mate less attractive. The good news is, it doesn't have to be permanent. Usually when people understand the mechanism and realize it's affecting their relationships, they can stop. The brain is often described as a use it or lose it system because the neural connections you stimulate grow stronger and desire to be activated, while the ones you ignore become weakened. Much like your muscles, which, if sitting still all day, itch for activity, but after prolonged non-use, they become complacent. Luckily, because of this use it or lose it brain, the same neuroplastic system that proliferates these habits can also be used to acquire healthier ones. Got a burning question you want answered?
Well, hey, I'm not afraid of these type of topics. The voice of reason is going to talk about it. And I was recently having a conversation, and here's the thing about me, man. It's hard to have a conversation with me about relationships, and in this case, intimacy, physical intimacy, and I not be thinking about how to make it into a topic. So, of course, where the majority of my discussions are held is in my little watering hole at the cigar lounge. And, hey, the topic comes up because I'm not hip to what's hot and new and popping and, what everybody is into. Because, I'm off the radio, quiet as kept. I'm pretty isolated, right? And so the topic came up, regarding the rose. Yeesh. And I was like, well, what is a rose? What? And apparently, it's this new toy that women are really like vibing with, like the toy replaces the boy. Like, we don't need the boy no more because we've got the super toy called the rose. And I was like, what? And basically, the women that were discussing the toy that replaces the boy it's so good that they don't really need us no more. So, of course, I started to connect the dots. I was like, well, is the toy affecting the woman's mind in much the same way, as porn is affecting the male mind? Because they say porn is a big deal with men. And I hate, and of course, there's some, some data that support, men, sexual addictions and porn and how it affects their intimate life. And, there's some data out there that supports it. But again, we're human beings. And yes, women are different than men, but I guarantee you, porn is affecting women. Probably not in the same way, but it is affecting them. And then because we're always looking to villainize men, making men responsible for everything, we tend to not see how sometimes women are adversely affected by something similar. And in this case, the rose. There were several young ladies in there that basically said they can't, how do I say this, get off. As a matter of fact, we should play Prince, Get Off. We should play Get Off. Anyway, yeah, I digress. My playlist is my co-host. But several women were saying, I can't get off on physical contact, i.e. penetration with a man, unless I got the rose. My rose must be on deck. And I was like, really? I mean, I was really blown away by it. And so I came up with tonight's topic, desensitized. The rose for women versus porn addiction for men. How has your sexual life become desensitized because of their overuse? Now, we already know, yes, sure, you can bring a toy into the fray, every now and again for a little added spice. Toys and porn should be like seasoning salt. See, Big Mama wasn't heavy-handed. You understand? She wasn't heavy-handed when she was cooking. You know them big mamas who know how to take a pinch, just a little pinch of this, a little pinch of that. You'd be like, you didn't even measure that. I don't have to. I done this long enough to know, right? Just boom, little pinches, right? Seasoning accentuate the flavor. They're not there to dominate the flavor. The same could be said for the toys and porn and all of that. Can the overuse of the rose for women and the overuse of porn for men cause irreversible damage to your relationship's intimate life? 1-800-920-1580. I want to know your thoughts. Yes, we have deep conversations here on The Voice of Reason. We're not afraid to have them. Is internet pornography causing sexual dysfunctions in intimate relationships? If so, what are they? Are some women trying to replace physical intimacy with men by using their sex toy, i.e. the rose? Conversely, are some men trying to replace physical intimacy with women via their infatuation with porn? This is very interesting to me. I had a sister tell me today in this discussion, it's better than getting an STD. I said, whoa, a lot safer than that, 1-800-920-1580. I'd like to know. I'd like to know what your thoughts are. What is pornography addiction? We know pornography can be addictive, but what are the effects, right? True or false? If you've developed a close relationship with your vibrator, you might find it difficult to reach orgasm without it. Oh, Lord, I know I'm calm, but I want to convey this in a way that resonates. Let me read that one again. True or false? If you've developed a close, intimate relationship with your vibrator, you might find it difficult to reach orgasm without it. Can the same be said about men who have this desire to watch porn? Do they need to watch porn while they're in the act with their woman in order to keep it cracking, in order to keep the interest going? You know, they say men are visual creatures. And there are some positions when you're making love to where you can't see it. You can't see what's going on, right? Should you be surrounded by mirrors so you can keep a physical image of what's happening? Oh, Lord, this is getting deep. This is getting deep. True or false? Desensitization is normal and nothing to be ashamed of. Many OBGYNs say. I want to know. I want to know. Don't be afraid to talk to me tonight. When I come forward, you know the voice of reason. It's going to the phone lines. I have so much more to break down on this topic. You already know what it is. It's Monday. We ready to cook?
Reasons. The reasons that we're here, the reasons that we fear, our feelings won't disappear. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and StraightTalk.com. For network management practices, visit StraightTalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single silver unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the silver unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
Are you facing an unexpected financial emergency? You need WeFixMoney.com. WeFixMoney.com can help you get up to $3,000 fast. WeFixMoney.com is free to use, available 24/7, and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Go to the name you trust, WeFixMoney.com. If you need emergency cash up to $3,000 for bills or anything else, type WeFixMoney.com directly into your browser. That's WeFixMoney.com.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
So as not to offend or unnerve, but there's a rumor going all around that you ain't been getting served. You say that you ain't, you know what, and baby, who knows how long. Cause I'm made us say what's right when all I wanna do is wrong. Get up.
23 positions in a one-night stand.
Get up.
I'll only call you after if you say I can.
Get up. Get up.
If you want to, baby, here I am.
Here I am. I got the J's from a friend of yours named Vanessa Bed. She said you told her a fantasy.
We were talking about if an addiction to porn is real. Discussing this with us is clinical sexologist Dr. Robert Weiss. And joining us now is the founder of a community-based porn addiction recovery site, Alex Rhodes. Alex, thank you for being here. You heard us talking in the first segment about different viewpoints on, is it an addiction? Is it, how real is it? I want you to talk a little bit about porn and how you say it destroyed your life.
Sure. So internet porn, I first got a hold of it around the age of 11 or 12. I'm in that first generation of kids who grew up having, going through puberty and having access to high-speed digital porn online. And that's totally different from what our grandparents had with the Playboys and stuff. But digital porn, it's available anytime, anywhere, unlimited amounts. You could pirate it or get it for free. And it went from like an innocent curiosity about the female form to an out of control compulsion really quick. And so when I was 13 or 14 years old, I think around 14, I actually injured myself going at it so vigorously, I guess. So yeah, kind of embarrassing. Great thing to go on TV to talk about.
Sad.
Well, yeah, so you imagine you're running in your house and there's carpet and you just skid on your knees on the ground. You could actually do that to your genitals too if you use porn too much. So I made a vow. I'm not going to do this for 24 to 48 hours to allow my injuries to heal. And it had nothing to do with religious shame. I didn't really grow up religious. I had no moral issues with pornography. I still wouldn't consider myself to be anti-porn. I simply realized at that time I couldn't even not do it for a day to allow my injuries to heal. I realized at that point it was out of control.
Can I ask you, when did you get to a place where you were able to recover, so to speak?
So my story really was heavily rooted in porn. And for me, it was over 10 hours a day. I tried to quit dozens of times, hundreds of times. And really what happened is whenever I was old enough to enter into relationships and start trying to engage in sexual activity, I realized that I essentially conditioned my brain to prefer pixels over, people and partners. So when I went to go and start engaging in sexual relationships, I realized I wasn't able to maintain arousal because my brain was like, what is this, a person? You're essentially depersonalizing the person in front of you and imagining porn in your head to actually maintain arousal. So it really not only impacted my grades and my life and everything else, but it also impacted my...
What in the entire Sam hell is going on? But apparently it's a thing. Tonight's topic, desensitized. This is my angle. You might not be happy with it. Spiritually impoverished people need stimulation all the time. They need to be doing something. They need to feel good. They need the next level. Where there is spiritual wealth, there is contentment. Where there is emptiness, there is thirstiness. There is a striving. Even when you achieve a particular goal, you want more. Same applies to sex. Now, what's really deep about all of this, you know how we talk about how people are performative in relationships. They perform a particular character. The mask sends an image of something that most people are not, right? So then you begin to perform, the image that the mask has projected outward, right? But the same applies to sex. People are performative. What does that mean? At the end of the day, men and women only care about the end result when it comes to sex. This is why a lot of people don't consider a sexual session good or complete unless there is an orgasm. That's just what it is. For men, I need this monkey off my back. Women got the same mindset. Hey, what happened? I told you not to move, but this is what it is. It's performative, right? So what comes in handy? For men, the pressure is not there while watching a video. Ooh. For women, the pressure is not there when he ain't there. This thing gonna hit the spot. I ain't gotta guide him to the spot. I know my spot. And I'm gonna put this thing on the spot, and within 120 seconds, or maybe longer, who knows, I'm gonna get what I'm after. Do you see how the give me culture even falls into sex? Sex is about connection, and it's a spiritually powerful tool for manifestation. Not just manifesting children, but manifesting dreams and goals. It is a manifester. You can give birth to many things using sex. Yes, this is true. This is true. I'm sorry to tell you, but it is. True or false, using a vibrator in the same position or at the same frequency or pressure every time you masturbate can make your brain and body used to that particular type of stimulation, thus desensitizing it to other types of touch. How can I know if I should move forward in my relationship with someone who has a history of pornography use? Is desensitization in sexual experience a neutral progression or a concerning issue in today's society? How does the constant exposure to explicit content affect our perception of intimacy and relationships? Wow. Can desensitization to sexual stimuli impact our ability to form genuine emotional connections? In what ways does desensitization through pornography or rose usage influence societal norms and expectations regarding sexuality? This is about to get deep. How does the normalization of extreme sexual behaviors in pornography contribute to desensitization among viewers? It's about to get interesting. When I come forward, the voice of reason, I'm going to the phone lines. People want to talk about it. Let's hear this national discussion up close and personal.
3 positions in a one-night stand.
Get up.
I'll only call you after if you say I can.
Get up. Let a woman be a woman and a man be a man. Get up.
If you want to, baby, here I am.
Here I am. Get up. 1, 2, 3, no, little cutie, I ain't drinking. Scope this, I was just thinking, you plus me, what a ride. If you was thinking the same, we could continue.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. An agreement is being reached on the terms of former President Trump's bond posted to cover the New York civil fraud judgment that he's appealing. Attorneys for Trump and the New York Attorney General's office came to an agreement this week after Attorney General Letitia James, who is black, challenged the bond on questions about the financial ability of the underwriter to secure the bond. Trump is required to keep the $175 million in the bank account used for the bond in the agreement. The underwriter must have exclusive control of the account and cannot withdraw any funds from it. The company must also give a monthly statement to James with the balance of the account. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott is giving an update on Baltimore's group violence reduction strategy. Scott, who was black, joined other city leaders and credited the anti-violence program with bringing down homicides, non-fatal shootings, and other crimes. The mayor also introduced what's being called a specific youth justice pillar focused on uplifting the safety of Baltimore's young people. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp. How does 3 months of free electricity and a lifetime of energy savings sound? Well, it's yours when you go solar with Sunlux. Learn more at sunlux.com, sunlux.com.
KBLA Talk 1580 is the fastest growing talk radio station in Southern California. Home to 50,000 watts and an audience reach of 12 million listeners. KBLA Talk 1580 is a pioneer for black audio content, including our groundbreaking $2 million climate justice campaign and the most loyal, influential audience. According to an independent research study by the polling firm Aviterus, for the second consecutive year, KBLA Talk 1580 is the most trustworthy, reliable, and credible news source for black audiences and beyond in Southern California. Let KBLA Talk 1580 power your advertising dollars. Our omni-channel custom marketing solutions are specifically tailored to connect with your ideal target audience. We leverage audio, podcasts, streaming, digital, social media, and local activations to get your message out to the black community. Get in touch with our advertising team today at advertising@kbla1580.com. That's advertising@kbla1580.com. KBLA 1580, we've got your black.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
It's time for California Community College's Black Student Success Week. This week-long event, held April 22nd through the 26th, is an opportunity to focus on innovative approaches to ensuring Black and African American students succeed in their educational pursuits. Black Student Success Week 2024, building a better future together. The urgency is now. For more information, visit blackstudentsuccess.com. That's blkstudentsuccess.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes, why should we be silent? Turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation with KBLA Talk 1580.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm just a bachelor.
say are things that men need to be focusing in on when it's trying to select a woman for a long-term marriage partner?
Well, you want someone honest. That's really, really important. Someone who will do her best to tell the truth. And my wife swore she'd do that before we got married, and she has. Probably better than I have. And so that's a rock, man, at the bottom of things, you know. So and you can't underplay the role of sexual attraction. And that's a mysterious thing. And so that's crucial as far as I'm concerned, and can't be. So
I have a real question about that, Dr. Peterson. So you mentioned pornography, and we do countless pieces of content to be able to help young men overcome that issue and provide tons of resources to help them support them. So what I've noticed that happens sometimes is because of years of watching pornography, the men's sexual attraction becomes warped. And so how can a man whose sexual attraction to women has become warped to the extreme ends due to so much consumption of pornography, how can that man go back to now being attracted to, more natural looking women or more women that could be around their lives instead of the projected?
Well, deprivation is helpful.
Yeah.
So I think it's reasonable to assume that there's a novelty edge in pornography, like there is in so many quasi-addictive phenomena. And so it has to become, because novelty is a sexual kick, it has to stay novel, and that means that over time it's going to become more extreme. So that's not good. Well, so how do you resensitize yourself in some sense? Well, you stop. And then hopefully you recover. And then you deprive yourself of that outlet, let's say. And you might say, well, is that absolutely necessary? And maybe there's nothing wrong with pornography. It's like, well, I don't know, man. Like, have you ever really met a guy who is proud of that? Like, you know what I mean? That makes him feel like, I'm the guy, man. I'm watching pornography and getting off. It's like, what a man. I don't believe anyone feels that. And to me, maybe I'm wrong. And to me, that's an indication.
Very deep stuff tonight. Can we work together to overcome pornography and toys? How do we develop strong, intimate connections without them? Clearly, the usage of these toys affects our brain. See, we got to be very careful with the brain. I don't know where Sean went. Sean, call back. 1-800-920-1580. We got to be very careful with the brain because the brain creates patterns. And boy, if you introduce it to some kind of stimuli that can create a negative pattern, it may negatively affect your relationship. Very interesting stuff. We got Robbie from Los Angeles, California, LA in the building. Talk to us, Robbie.
What's happening? Listening to the question, and I remember being, I can't say addicted to porn, but it got to a problem where when I was intimate with a woman, I had to have porn on just to keep me going with her. Simply because it wasn't trying to get the nut off. It was like she was kind of boring. It does desensitize you, but it also puts you in a mind space where you want a little more debauchery. It has to be a little bit freakier.
So first off, orgasm is the term, but that's fine. Were you trying to recreate some of the scenes that you saw?
I was just, it wasn't even orgasmic. It was just trying to really have a release because I knew I wasn't going to achieve an orgasm with this individual, so I might as well just release.
Wow.
So it wasn't even recreating a scene. I mean, all these weird positions that they're in, that doesn't work. Not in the real world.
But wait,
there have
Robbie,
been a couple of...
wait, help me understand, because I thought release and orgasm for men were the same thing.
No.
No.
Not
okay,
at all.
Robbie got levels to it. Okay, keep going, Robbie.
You can masturbate. You can masturbate and just have a quick release. But if you're in an intimate act with someone, then you're going to have an orgasm.
Ah, I love the distinction. Keep going. Yes, keep going.
There's two different sensations. Even with the woman desynthesizing herself with the rose, pretty soon the clitoral area is just so desynthesized that nothing happens. That's why some women like insertion with a toy, and some just like clitoral stimulation. After a while, it's just pretty much a dead organ. You know, they've blown it out so much where now that's where they're going for backdoor action because now it's a different sensation.
What? This is just so. What you're saying is, once it gets routine, that's when you start experimenting.
That's when people start experimenting. I, on the other hand, I had to experiment in a different manner. I had to bring in another female, two other people, or doing it outside on the hood. My biggest kink was having sex on my hood in front of a police station.
Oh, so you wild.
And that went down 3 times.
You
that went down 3 times. Yeah.
So you out of control.
It's a different kink. I was, but it's just a different kink. And the more we abstain from unnatural, that's the best way of saying it, unnatural stimuli, you heal. It's just like with men. Men, we forget that if we're masturbating too much, chronic masturbators are wondering why they can't sustain an erection unless they're masturbating. Well, the problem is you're bringing scar tissue to that unit. So once you stop, it's going to heal.
Once you leave yourself alone, once you break up with yourself, you need to quit yourself so you can heal. Keep going.
Yeah, but it's scar tissue built up. I mean, I know you're going to do your research, though, and you'll see it's scar tissue built up. And that's what people fail to realize, that if you keep pulling and stretching this instrument, you're building up scar tissue. That's why whenever you go to a urologist, he's saying, hey, refrain from this type of activity for a week or two. Let the scar tissue heal.
Hey, Robbie, I cannot tell you. I cannot tell you how much I appreciated your call. Brother, you brought Los Angeles in the building, and you came in here swinging for the fences. Robbie, you can call in anytime, man. I appreciate the call, good brother.
Thank you, so no, you appreciate it. I'm glad to call in. I'm just grateful that the Voice of Reason is on the air because you're dropping jewels, man. Bars, straight bars every night.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the VOR. If you want to participate in this national discussion, all you got to do is call me at 1-800-920-1580. We on fire tonight.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts. Hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, in downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
City of Los Angeles tenants and landlords participating in the Emergency Renters Assistance Program, beware of scammers. Notifications about your application will only come from the City of LA in emails ending in lacity.org. Protect yourself. Contact the LA Housing Department by email at lahd.erap@lacity.org or call 866-557-7368 to check communications you receive about the program. You can also verify your application status at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, shorty. I see. Go ahead and share with your friends. Holla.
Don't be mad, I'm not trying to offend. Your shape is captivating, but I'ma be patient. If I have to, I'ma just fall back. You don't need to press the fact that I'm open off your style. You're sexy when you walk. I ain't even heard you talk, yeah. If your voice is as fly as your skin tone, then I already know what you sound like when you moan. I don't wanna be patient, don't wanna jump the gun. I don't want somebody else to screw you, but I'ma be patient. Maybe I wanna see if you feel me, baby. Girl, it's plain to see when you get close to me.
How porn affects women. I'm Dr. Trish Lee. I was asked to answer this question, so I'm going to give you a quick shout out about how porn is impacting women these days and why I talk primarily to men on this channel. Well, let's put it this way. Porn is not a man thing. It is a brain thing. We know that it impacts all brains, and actually there have been scientific studies done that show that women who watch pornography are impacted, their brain is impacted in the same way as men. But we also know that there have been 50 billion hits on just one or two porn sites this year, and it's actually probably more than that. It was 42 billion last year, and numbers aren't in for the year, but we know that consumption has just went through the roof because of the pandemic. So it's over 50 billion for sure. But what happens is there's a very small percentage of women who are consuming on those clicks. But what the science shows, of the women who are watching porn, their brains are being impacted in very much the same way, and unfortunately most of them are moving towards a compulsive pornography habit. And so brains are impacted in the same way. You get hooked, your brain becomes hijacked. Especially, we know the scientific studies show that of those women, most of them are between the ages of 18 and 34. So it's younger women that are being exposed because porn is being so normalized. And I'm here to tell you, even though we're normalizing it as a society, It is grabbing brains by the hold and hijacking those brains, taking those brains over and impacting them with poor memory, poor processing speed, actual shrinkage of your brain size. The connectivity and the networks in the brain are not working as well after your brain has been hijacked. So it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. So for all my sisters out there who are joining me on this channel, even though I'll mostly speak to the men because that's who is being impacted the most, everything I say goes for your brain too. Brains are being impacted, so you can follow all of the strategies. And I try to talk about
This is interesting. I'm glad I picked that clip because I wanted people to know it's not just men. But that is the narrative that is being pushed. So, would the same be true? You know, is the brain being impacted by overuse of the rose? Can they wait to get home? Are they using roses in the car? Maybe not while driving. But listen, people are impacted. You heard the young man in the previous clip say he couldn't even stop for a day after he injured himself. Tonight's topic. Listen, let's get even deeper. You know I got to do it. What am I about to do, Andy? Andy, what am I about to do? You know I got to do it. 2 years running. What am I about to do?
You're about to quote your favorite philosopher, Brother Jiddu Krishnamurti.
I love the way you said his first name, Brother Jiddu. I'm finna quote my homeboy Jiddu. What does Jiddu have to say about it, man? I'm about to tell you. Sex is a problem because it would seem that in the act there is a complete absence of the self. In the moment you are happy because there is the cessation of self-consciousness, of the me, the ego, and desiring more of it, more of the abnegation of the self, in which there is complete happiness through full fusion, integration. Naturally, it becomes all important. Isn't that so? Because it is something that gives me unadulterated joy, complete self-forgiveness, I want more and more of it. Now, why do I want more of it? Because everywhere else in my life, I am in conflict. In all our relationships with property, with people, with ideas, there is conflict, pain, struggle, misery. Naturally, you want more of it because it gives you happiness, while all the rest leads you to misery. So the problem is not sex, but how to be free from the self, the contaminated. Oh, goodness. You have tasted that state of being in which the self, i.e., the ego, is not, if only for a few seconds, if only for a day. So there is the constant longing for more of that self-free state until you resolve the whole content of that conflict. This one release of the self through sex will remain a hideous problem. Did you hear when I said earlier, spiritually empty or impoverished people need the orgasm? They need the release. He said, everywhere else in your life, you're a mess. You haven't forgiven your father. You haven't forgiven your mother. You're mad at your brother. You still hold a grudge against your ex. You don't like your job. Everything is in disarray. You hate yourself. You don't like your skin color. You don't like your race. You don't like your place in the world. You feel like you beat yourself up, but you do it all the time. Listen, everywhere else in your life, you are a mess. And the only place to get a moment of self-release is through the orgasm. And if you pick a partner who can't deliver on the outcome you desire, what you do? You overdose on the seasoning salt. Never mind, I'll do it. You never last more than 7 minutes. Just move on. I'll finish. And then for the men, he's strong while he watching the video. Strong like he was in his 20s. Strong, ready to do it. Ready to go the whole 9 yards. And I know it sounds funny, but it isn't. It's a serious problem. Sex has become a fetish. The word fetish, from its original etymological root, will tell us it means tool. Our partners have become tools for self-gratification. We want to escape who we are through the act, through the act of manifestation. Sex is an act of manifestation. People don't understand the spiritual connection between sexual partners. Man, if you have low self-esteem and a woman allows you into her, do you know you're going to transfer that energy? If you have low self-worth, if you don't like yourself, and vice versa, man, are y'all listening? What do you think trauma bonding is just psychological or energetic? You can trauma bond through sex. Listen, when I come forward, I'm going back to the phone lines. We got a sister on the line. We got to get her on the line. One of our favorites. We got brothers on the line, of course. 2 of our favorites. We appreciate it. Come on. It's about to go down.
Takes me a minute. It's only cause it's looking like my dream and you in it. You messed around and gave me the eye, now you did it. But I don't wanna see you get somebody else your digits. But baby, your body is like a sexy 9 pro handle design. Thought she was shy, she fly, pull me from behind. Baby, kinda bonafide, cool, relaxed, tight. Pleasures I like, it's my everyday struggle.